Episode 22, pre-match mix. To start with, it's just me and Joel. We're not going to fuck about. We haven't got much time, so we just need to get it sorted. First question, Joel, what are you having for your tea?
What am I having for me tea? Good question. Dog is barking behind me. So you have to ask me that question again in a minute. Oi. That is gone. Gone
I'm just
now.
getting it out there. I'm having beans on toast, so
Can't beat the beans on toast tea.
can't beat the beans on toast.
When I've got a
Kate,
reckon game in the week, I have my beans on toast.
if it needs must. Kate, what are
Yeah.
you having for your tea?
Sorry?
I knew you'd be confused. We're just saying, well, what are you having for dinner? Is the topic.
Dinner. I'm a pretty basic eater. I eat a lot of chicken sandwiches, that kind of stuff. I'm pretty
Nice. Nice.
I'm pretty basic.
There we go. Joel's going to let us know in a moment. I'm having beans on toast. So most Americans don't understand this beans on toast thing, but obviously it's a winner. Trust me. Heinz
Delicious.
beans, tomato sauce on toast, tip
My
top.
dad loves that stuff.
Marmite underneath the beans on the toast if you really fancy it.
Oh, I don't know about Marmite. It's
Ah,
it's so divisive.
yeah. I've recently decided that I like it. So
Goodness me.
sticking
So I
with
know
it.
you're pressed for time, Joel, so we'll crack on. One of the things we wanted to talk about, we've got a World Cup on the horizon, and there's
We
been
have, yeah.
loads of noise about referee changes and things coming on. One of the main ones being around time to take throw-ins and goal kicks. I guess, what's your take, and what have we got to look forward to?
Yeah, the IFAB have agreed on Saturday, I think this last week, on 5 new changes that they're going to trial for the World Cup because I think the actual laws come into effect on the 1st of July. Obviously, the World Cup bridges over that through the start of June and finishes early July. So there's 5 changes that um they're going to trial. The first 3 of them, really, one of them you touched on there, is to tackle what's being called tempo disruption. So the first one is that the goal kicks and the throw-ins are going to take 5 seconds. This one for me, I don't know how effective that's going to be until I see it. Like with the goalkeeper with the ball in his hands, that has worked. That there's not really been any major issues with that. I think that's been a good addition. I think a goal kick for 5 seconds, possibly a little bit harsh. I don't know how it's going to be managed, but I was here at the start of last season saying the same thing with the goalkeeper with 8 seconds in a sand. Um, Throw-ins might be a little bit different. You've obviously got the multi-ball systems and stuff like that. Teams do generally want to take them quickly, but if they're in the final third, maybe not. So I don't know how much that is going to impact team tactics, but it's to manage the tempo of the game. I don't know if the other two are actually a bit more interesting, to be honest. So the other one is time substitutes. So if the player's going off, they've got 10 seconds to leave the pitch. Any longer than that, the the substitute coming on must wait a minute. But they say at least 1 minute. If they take longer than 10 seconds, they have to wait that minute, and then when the ball's out of play. So what I'm saying about tactics of teams as well is if you know that 1 minute penalty is in place, you're going to try and keep hold of the ball and do something, aren't you? So I think personally that could have a positive impact. I don't know how stringent that 10 seconds actually is. You know how manageable that's actually going to be. To say you've got 10 seconds to get off, and I don't know if it's a player whether he's exempt because he's limped off, which I suppose leads into the next question about the medical attention. So you'll know from the Premier League this season and a few other leagues as well that we have 30 seconds. If there's a significant injury and treatment, they're going to trial at least 1 minute as well. So they trialed 2 minutes. I think it was in one of the Canadian leagues, and a few others maybe. But they're going to said that was too long. They're going to say at least 1 minute, and then when the ball goes out, Now that there's an exemption on that one as well, around if the player's gone down injured because they've been on the end of a tackle that has warranted a red or yellow card. So they don't have to go off for that. The goalkeeper doesn't have to go off. I think the minute one, I don't know how I feel about it. And again, until I see it, that 30 seconds feels a long time as it is. And I feel like that's adequate at the moment. I think that has prevented it a little bit. So 30 seconds more, how much more effective is that going to be? I'm not sure. Then there's another real change, and that is something that's sort of been soft launch, if you like, over the past season or so. Only the team captain's allowed to talk to the referee. I'm assuming I've not really been made clear yet whether if you even speak to the referee that it's going to be a yellow card. I don't know if there's a certain distance you have to be away from the referee. Not quite sure on that one yet. I think the more interesting one though is around the VAR intervention, and there's two areas of this. So the VAR now has authority to come in on second yellow cards and incorrectly awarded corner kicks. In terms of the yellow cards one, so in the Premier League last season, according to the Key Match Incident Panel, KMI as they call it, there were 17 incorrectly awarded second yellow cards within the last 2 seasons in the Premier League. They say that there's been none this season. I don't know how that works. I don't know what the data is on that and how they're spinning that. They're saying that there's been none. But anyway, the VAR can now intervene for second yellow cards. There was a recent incident, I can't remember where it was. The referee designation panel or something for whatever game it was in one of the top leagues was on and come out and apologised for a second yellow card that shouldn't have been given, but the VAR didn't have the powers to intervene on it. So I think that one is for the better, again, because ultimately it's still a red card. Okay, it might be a second yellow card, might be a little bit of a softer one, but I think that will end up being better for the league. The good thing is that this is a trial. I know the laws are coming into place in July, but there might be a bit of, I don't know, the teething issues might come out in the World Cup, so it might affect it as a spectacle. But then as the season goes on, it might develop a little bit more. In terms of the corner ones, so they've got authority to intervene on whether the corner's being incorrectly awarded. They've said they've trialed it somewhere. I can't remember where I was reading the other day. They've actually found that it's quite a quick review and quite easy to get the correct angle on, where the last touch was on the ball. If we think about corners, especially in the Premier League at the minute, how long they're actually taking for certain teams. By the time you've sent your 2 centre halves up into the box, you're already on 30 seconds, aren't you? Already. So, but as soon as the ball goes out, the VAR team will be able to review that and try and give a bit of an indication on what needs to change. I think that'll be one that there's going to be loads of fuss about at first, and then it'll just become part and parcel of it. I think that process will be smooth. In terms of beyond the World Cup, the Premier League's not expected to continue with that one. UEFA's also against it, but the Italian Serie A is likely to adopt it, according to the BBC. And then Pierluigi Collina has endorsed it as well. So, mix of opinions from top leagues around Europe as well. FIFA obviously keen to push these new changes in the showpiece events in the World Cup in the summer. But yeah, it's exciting, and there's more change for us to get used to again, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, if Pelé Kalina is given his endorsement, that's like the hand of God, isn't it? So I think it'll be spread out, and he'll start doing his rounds, the leagues, and seeing what happens. Interesting when you say about the 5 seconds, I guess. And has there been anything announced on this? It's the when, isn't it? When 5 seconds, when? So is it when the ball arrives in the hands? Because in theory, you've still got all that time before the keeper goes and fetches the ball. Especially the World Cup, it's going to be at stadiums where there could be tracks around, or it's a wider pitch. So I think the interesting point is going to be when the 5 seconds starts.
Yeah, because when the ball's in play with the goalkeeper, it's when you think he can release it. But like you say, if it's at the bar and gone into the, I don't know, a group of fans that are winning the game and they keep hold of the ball, and the ball boy can't get there quick enough, and it's nothing to do with the players. When did you start that? If it's bounced off and comes straight back into play, and then there's a ball boy throwing it on the pitch, trying to delay it. Like I said, I think it won't become obvious how complicated it actually is until we see it, really. Probably be a bit of a controversy in the first few games about it. But I do think 5 seconds a bit harsh.
Yeah, we'll see what pans out.
8 seconds doesn't seem like any time at all. But I suppose if you compare that one to the 6 seconds that they used to have, that went on for about 25 seconds.
As you say, it's crazy some of the time wasting that's going on, and I can understand why it's being brought in. It's madness, and it maddens us as supporters and watching it happen. So yeah, things like that, long may that continue. I think with the VAR myself, I agree with the second yellow. It's always been bonkers that you can't review a second yellow, especially when it's the wrong decision, and we've spoken about that in the past. I'm quite all right with the corner one, as you rightly say. By the time the centre backs get up, it's probably 30 seconds gone. It might just mean the odd time the centre backs have to make their way back. So yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. So we'll watch this space. But and I believe, Kurt, you might get to a few games over the summer. Fingers crossed, and you've got all this to look forward to.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. I don't have a problem with much of any of them. And the corner one, I think, takes less time than people realize. I mean, you see a replay of it. If you're watching it on TV, you see the replay of what actually happened, like practically immediately. So I don't expect some of that. The 5 second stuff, the throw in stuff, it feels a lot like you spoke about the 8 second rule or whatever. Like that was like something that they really cracked down on the first like 2 weeks. And then it just kind of slowly fades from everybody's mind, even including the referees. And it's like, yeah. So that's kind of how I feel that may go because of what throw-ins and stuff are now. But yeah, hopefully we can get to some games. They are getting more expensive by the minute. It feels like. I was hoping that the prices would come down like they did at the Club World Cup. I'm like, maybe they'll just drop because people think this is kind of ridiculous. But it's like, oh, we added $100 fee to go to the game now and stuff like that. Is nutty.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. And the parking charges, which we were talking about the other day, are crazy. And obviously, fuel costs, gas is going up, so that's not helping the situation either. So, yeah, as I say, unfortunately, yourself and American cousins are getting absolutely rinsed in this World Cup, and I think it's a funny contrast compared to UEFA. UEFA seem to be going the other way on ticket prices. They seem to be really wanting to lock it down. And from what we hear, they are maintaining the ticket prices in the last UEFA tournaments, which I think for Brits and those in the UK and Ireland, it's going to be music to their ears and try and get to more games. So yeah, stark differences in how the associations are dealing with that. So the interesting times.
It'll cost me less money to get on a plane and go over to the UK and watch like 3 games over there than it would to go to a game like that's an hour away from me, which is nuts.
Yeah, this is an away trip in the making.
Exactly. Yeah.
I had my first visit to the Hill Dickinson Stadium last night. I went to the Ivory Coast against Scotland. Good atmosphere, affordable prices, apart from the pints on the concourse, but the tickets were reasonable. And the parking was a disgrace, but that was in the city centre at last
Yeah.
minute.
Always is.
Yeah.
Goodness me. No, that's great, Joel. Thanks very much, mate. Appreciate the update. Obviously, you're welcome to stay. I know you mentioned that you might have to dash, but yeah, we're going to be turning to Kurt and the bets. So, Kurt, it was a fantastic week last week. Clean sweep, really. You went for under 2.5 goals at Wales, Sweden to advance, and North Macedonia to not score versus Denmark. So, yeah, very well done. A great week for volume bets.
Yeah, I don't mind betting international stuff if they mean something, because I can kind of guess at what teams are going to put out. Stuff kind of with the friendly stuff, but the important games, I have no problem. Like France, like over the weekend played 2 games and played their first team one day and like their C team the next, and it's just tough to gauge if they don't mean anything.
Yeah, I don't know whether you see in the video, actually. Ekatike apparently megged the referee in one of the games, so it's trust him of all players. He's that cheeky that he would probably try and mean to do it as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
really funny one that. So what have you got planned for us this week, bud?
A couple different ones. I have 3, but they're all kind of scattered around Europe a little bit. First one's Middlesbrough money line. They're at home. They're playing Millwall, and I don't like doing this because my dad's a Millwall guy, and when he was doing youth soccer, was at Millwall. And he gets to watch we actually get some of the championship games here now, so he gets to watch them now, which wasn't something that we got to do even 2 years ago, which is nice. But they've also wildly overperformed, and they've been a little bit touch and go lately as they're kind of just trying to hold on to their playoff spot. And this is a Middlesbrough team who are just infinitely more talented at home, looking for wins, trying to keep into the top 2. Um, I think Middlesbrough will win it, but I think it could kind of get a little bit out of hand as that one goes a little bit further. Second one is Inter money line. They're playing Roma at home. This is just a better team, and after everything that's just happened with Italy and all that, any Italian player that was a part of that setup should theoretically want to come back and put in good performances. The top Italian team should be wanting to put in good performances. They're at home. Milan are kind of on their tail a little bit, and this is a Roma team that just struggles to score just in general, particularly on the road. So I think if Inter can get to 2 here, I think 1 could do it and win them the game. But if they get to 2, I kind of struggle to see where Roma score enough to keep pace. And then the last one is Manchester City draw no bet. They're playing Liverpool at the weekend. And then I parlayed it with Barcelona draw no bet against Atletico Madrid in the first Champions League game. So Tuesday or Wednesday. It's important because they play Atletico Madrid in a regular league game on Saturday too. I think they played their next 3 of their next 4 are against Atletico Madrid, but it's the second one, the first Champions League game at home. But that's a good spot for Barcelona. It's a Atletico Madrid team that still goes on the road and is still kind of funky, but they're just not as good defensively as they used to be. When you think about those really good Atletico Madrid teams, they go on the road and it's 0-0, and then they come home and they do what they need to. They're just not as good defensively. They're a little bit better going forward and stuff like that, but I think they kind of sit and give up a couple goals here, even without Rafinha. And then City are playing Liverpool in the cup. It's just tough for me to like. City came to Liverpool, and that game was kind of 50-50, and we did score late and give it up late, but in terms of just regular play, it was kind of 50-50. This one's at City, and this is all City have left. Like, City are not going to win the league. City are out of the Champions League. This is all they have left. And I think they'd like to win a couple trophies the year that they don't go. And again, 50-50 at Anfield. I kind of think this tilts a little bit closer to 65-35 at the Etihad. And even if they don't win the game outright, and even if they if you see City losing, it's probably something in extra time or penalties or something like that. And it's tough for me to see Liverpool go over there and score 3 times and kind of just push City completely out of this game. So City draw no bet.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you there, mate. It's going to be really tough for Liverpool to get it out of this game. And as you rightly say, I think the only way they're going to do it is by going the distance and getting it over the line that way. So, yeah, I'm very much of the opinion. I think it's going to be a miserable Saturday for Liverpool. And as you rightly say, City will want to win 2 cups and get that over the line as well. And, unfortunately, they've dropped too many points in the league. There's too few games now for them to get back into it. So, yeah, it's sad to say, but I think in the next few rounds, Liverpool are going to be going out of 2 cup competitions, and yeah, really struggling for the Champions League as well. So we'll see what that brings.
We are like even money to go through against PSG, and I keep looking at it, and I'm like that. The problem I have with betting Liverpool is because Liverpool to me are like the team I follow the most aggressively, and like it's the most fandom I have for a team. I don't mind betting against some of my other teams. What Because it's the most fandom, I find that when I look at something and I'm like, that doesn't make sense, we tend to win those games. And then when I look at it and I'm like, we should cruise here, just regular fandom stuff, that takes out just all the other logic, I suppose. I just been staring at it for like 2 weeks. I haven't bet PSG yet, but I've just been staring at it and I'm like, this is crazy. We're like 48% to go through this
Yeah,
PSG side.
and that's been the crazy thing about Liverpool this season. And we've seen it earlier in the season: beat Atletico, beat Real Madrid. They've won some big games. PSG for me it's a step up, and I think
Mhm.
Liverpool are really going to struggle. We got away with it last time around when they won at Parc des Princes. I don't think that's going to happen again this season. I think Liverpool are going to go there, probably concede at least a couple of goals, and you know be really up against it by the time we get to Anfield. And I can almost see a PSG win where it's like a 3-2 or a 4-2, just because Liverpool are gung ho and trying to go for it in that way. So yeah, I think it's going to be a tough month for Liverpool. Let's put it that way.
I will say of Slot's system that it works infinitely better against European teams
Yeah,
for a few reasons, or it doesn't work as well in the Premier League for a few reasons, but it's still, you're correct. It's a bit of a jump. And PSG get like every possible good thing they go their way. Like they get that Lens game moved despite only them wanting it moved, and we have to go to the Etihad and then go over to France and play that first game, and like they get every little thing in there. It's
yeah,
annoying.
and it'll be interesting on team selection as well. Don't get me wrong; the 2 games that realistically the players will want to play, but does Slot make a call and maybe drop a couple for the City game and prioritise the PSG game? Obviously, we don't know, and I think realistically, because the games are so close, it's going to be interesting what his team selection is really, especially where Frimpong's just got injured, so there's another loss. So chances are Szoboszlai or Jones will be shunted back to right back. So or does he go with Gomez and try to protect them? So it'll all come out.
Let's see.
Yeah. Cool. That's fab. Thanks, Kate. Obviously, we're a bit pressed for time. No Ian this week. He'll be back next week. Colin, I believe, has returned from his holiday. So he landed just before. I hope he's
Poor
really
guy.
miserable and thoroughly miserable. Because
Yeah.
all he's done is sent us photos of being on holiday and drinking the drinks. So yeah, that's been great. Thanks, Col. But yeah, short one this week. I say it's beans on toast for me. I'm going to hold on the Marmite, but we'll see what the comments bring and see if anyone likes it on theirs. So cheers,
There you
buddy. Take
go.
care. See you soon.
Have a good